filming the two sentences you just been saying up right like
This
I want to
word.
be a capsman
Uh-huh.
or I want to be a capsman like
DJ Papo Podcast, Cristianismo e Ciência, num lugar onde há pregação, ensino, motivação, educação. DJ Papo Podcast, Christianity and Science.
Greeting for everybody. So this is Teacher Pop Podcast right now. So we are so happy to be right there. So for those people who has been following us on WhatsApp, on TikTok, on YouTube, so do not forget to subscribe and follow us. So today we have here two special guests who come from different places. So they are going to present themselves. So today we're going to talk about accent and its importance in the process of learning. So, but before we give opportunity for them to introduce themselves. We're going to start with Mr. Augusto. So you're the one. Let's go.
I think you're starting from me just because my name is August, the first
Oh,
letter of the
that's the
alphabet.
point of the conversation.
Okay.
Accent.
I see. I'm Augusto Vitor Cristiano. I'm a translator and teacher of English.
Wow.
I've been working as a translator for 2 years
Wow.
for Travel International, and also I'm the CEO of Eagle Vision, which is an
Wow.
institution that provides translation, interpretation course. That's all.
Wow. That's amazing for Mr. Augusto. Wow. That was amazing. Okay, so right now in my side right here, so I have one young man. Okay, he's gonna start talking about himself. Let's go, show the breeze.
well done because I'm named after Miss Benny right someone just call me like Mr. Fact is my family
come
name
on.
right in 20 just been grown up yeah because it's my it's hood already and I because this is my side of time being out right here and I've just been like fishing the water already whenever I've just been getting up so this well done because Mr. Pop the one I just invited me up right now how to get up in this podcast like the one I just called about pop up so podcast Mr. Pop right in China
I got the point.
yeah, and then it's something that because we just been getting up so many things right here, right? According to the
Okay.
importance of accent. Yeah.
Thank you. That was Mr. Penn in the building. Right there. All right, let's clap this for Penny right there. So we are here at So to the Pop Podcast. We could listen Mr. August and Mr. Ben in the building. So, okay, I don't want to get that point, but that's the point that we're going to talk right here. Okay, so I'm going to start with Mr. August. You will have 5 minutes. I mean, no, 3 minutes. Yeah, that's the point of introduction. You will talking about in your point of view. So, what is accent? Okay, how can you qualify accent in your point of view? You will have 3 minutes to talk about accent. Let's go, Mr. August.
Okay. Is it possible to take less minutes as you did? Because you only give me 30 minutes.
No,
and I think
as
I
an
already
introduction.
Okay, that's okay. Accent is something that students ask all the time, especially when they confuse the difference between accent and pronunciation.
Well, okay, there is our views right there. They need to understand it.
Okay.
There is a difference between accent and pronunciation.
Of
Tell
course,
us.
of course. Do you want me to also talk about the difference?
Yeah, if that you have your time.
That's okay. Only accent determines where a product is formed. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I'm trying to say that through the accent you get to understand where someone is from.
Okay.
For example, let me give an example that has to do with our context. Here in Angola, we do have lots of people from the other provinces.
Yes.
When they come to Luanda, we get to understand where they are from owing to the way they speak.
All right.
For example, we have neighbors, families from Benguela.
Okay.
Just because the way they speak, you understand, these guys from Benguela.
So it's mean that accent has to do with where you came from.
Where you from, because
Okay.
accent determines where you from because of the problem of the regional accents. For example, here in Angola, we all speak Portuguese, but we have local different accent in different provinces. Benguela, they speak different from us, the guys from Luanda. Wambu, they speak different from the guys from Lubango, Bié, and so
All
forth.
right.
This is all because of the accent. Pronunciation has to do with the way that we are going to utter, to pronounce the word, you see? But the fact that will determine where you're from, that's going to be called accent.
Okay, thank you, Mr. August. That was Mr. August defining accent. Okay, so right now let's we give opportunity also to Mr. Benny. You have your time to talking about what is accent, Mr. Benny.
To begin with, radicals and that, because my humble right here, right, the one I just said, the little radicals according to the accent, the definitions, right, and so when it just been grand up, right, and I've just been getting up for some brokes, right, they are different accent and pronunciations, right, of course,
Yeah.
and accent, right, the one I just been getting up for the place we just been come from right now, right,
Yeah.
of course, the one I just beginning calling the cultures, right, the way you know, right, and Chomoni, the regional places, right, you just been getting up. Well done, because I'm not telling you right, so the sound for instance, the one I just been getting up, right here, because the province
Okay.
belongs and well, right in China. I'm gonna get it to the first things belongs, so United States, right there. First things,
Okay.
there are some states like
Okay,
that.
it means that also those people who live in America they have
Right.
different accent.
Of course, right.
Okay.
For instance, people come from Boston City, you know, right? Because they just been saying, right? Well done, because so the style, the way had just been speaking out to something, one just say, "Hi, man." We ain't gonna remember crack got been in the stand and say shit right now.
Oh, is it
Of course,
English?
right. Of
Oh my
course,
God.
right. And people come from Mahatma, right? They
Yeah.
want to can say.
So
We
come,
ain't-
come down, Mr. Benny. I don't know if you got the point. Is it the accent or these are some ways of them speak? I mean, some idiomatic expression or some
It's not
slang?
that I'm we just been getting according to the style, the way you speak.
Okay.
Right? Of course, and I've just been getting up so the cultures, right? The style,
yeah.
right? Yeah, of course. And then it gets like so rap style.
Yeah.
And rap style got so the different accent.
Whoa.
Of course. And then so, if you just go by some rap guy right and join the way they had just been getting up to the way
Yeah.
or the style and it's so going to see up right, you know, they want to so got a different style then and normal people, right, of course. And then back in time, right, because when I was getting up, right, because so people from Manhattan, right, in New York City, right, because for the first instance, we're getting some things right here, the different pronunciation and accent.
Yeah.
Boston City, they just been saying, I don't know.
I don't know.
Right, I don't know.
I
And
don't
the people come, Mahatma, they just mean it saying, don't know.
That
This is the pronunciation, not accent.
ah
Right, they write the same one, but according to the pronunciations, right, they just been again a different one. I don't know, and I can pronounce it right, don't know.
That know.
You get me,
It
right?
leads with pronunciation.
Of course.
And-
For instance, the pronunciation right
Okay.
here, right? And then the accent, right? And I just said, people come from Boston City, and I just say, hi, man, give me some papers right now, right in Toronto, because and I've just been in Cash Potato, right, like this, you know, and so on. The style, they want to just been saying, oh, you still can't say no. They want to come from Boston City. They want to come from Miami City, New York City, and so on. And then look at the back on the radicals. Some people from Atlanta, yeah, of course, right, and so on. And it's okay to see up for the gators, right? It's so going to see, and it's some blokes like they speak like Chinese, but and it's so going to see up, you know. Perhaps the one I just been getting like Chinese people, right? And so on. For instance, the one just say, man, give me chin, dan.
Come on. What is this, my man?
Of course, right. And then she'll go and say, oh man, the one that just say, she me gaga, she, ban, dan, right now.
That's accent.
Of course, right.
My God.
You know, right. I just been people from the gators one had just been dipping out from right there. You know, right, cause and look at the book on it for those blocks right there.
Yeah.
So I got some of those and some of those some movies right in joining. Download it from YouTube. You're gonna find out. So those radicals. So these moves goes by Against Delicious and so the removes band locks. So I've just seen it. So those
I've never seen.
these moves.
I've never
You're
seen.
gonna see up the different accent radicals and so on. When it's Against Delicious, the one just says or something. In an interview, you know, right for because the one is singers one is writing is a rap one. The one just said, you know, right there, the journalist, the one that just gets us some questions. That's solution. What you just been getting up according to your musicians writing somebody. The one just said, we ain't gonna need a map called shin dan. And then shin dan.
It's impossible to understand.
You know, right?
That's
That's
it,
really
come on.
impossible. Of course,
Oh my
right?
God.
Of course. And someday, you know, right? I'm gonna send you up so the video
Oh
you're
my
gonna
God.
see up,
My
right? So the
God.
video is
Okay,
gonna be
okay,
amazing.
Mr. Betty, that was
Yeah.
the time, Mr. Betty, Mr. Betty,
Yeah.
just guys. Oh my God. So that was the idea about accent or the definition about accent. So let's we go to the terms of this. Now you have the free moments of speaking when you can interrupt and cut once you see some idea that you know that you do not agree with. Yeah, let's we go right now, Mr. August. Okay, you said about accent. You spoke about accent. What is accent and why it is important to identify our accent? Okay, and if accent is so really important in the process of learning, so what is the biggest problem to understand each another once it leads with accent?
Well, that's okay. It's such an interesting question and it must be well answered. You see, accent has to do with the problems of the regional accent, as I've said before.
Yeah.
But students all
Here,
the
let me
time.
just get here. You can interrupt once you see some idea that is not according what you think about.
Not the gem already.
Okay.
You just been grand.
But students most of the time they find it difficult to understand different
Yeah.
accent because they don't used to be exposed to it. You see,
Okay.
what I'm trying to convey is that when you only teach a student in sounding on
Yeah.
one way, the student will get used to those ways. This is why we have students that they only understand what their teacher says. When you take
Okay.
him or her to the other place to talk, they don't talk.
For real.
They don't understand why, because they are only exposed to his or her teacher's accent. You see,
Yeah.
students must be exposed to different accents because when you get stuck trying to understand someone, it's because you're not used to listen to different accents.
Yeah.
Because there's something that in English we have as a flap T that makes Americans to sound like better and better sometimes.
Whoa.
If students are not aware of this variation, they might even get lost when they are speaking. You see, so teachers have the responsibility. Do you know how did they sound? Responsibility, not responsibility. I'm not saying that what I'm saying right is wrong, right now is wrong. No, I'm just saying that these are some of the kind of variations that you're going to have while teaching pronunciation or even how people are going to sound. It's important to know that we're going to have different ways on pronouncing words. But students must be aware of it so that they don't get lost when trying to understand someone who's trying to convey information to them. That's it.
Okay. Is it possible to use two accent in the same time?
Yes, it is. It's called a mixture of accents.
Wow.
You mix because there are people who you find it difficult to identify if they like to use British or American English. So it depends on you to decide what kind of English you are going to
British.
use, British or American. For example, so far, I do not determine if I speak like an American or if a British, because I like both kind of English. You see, what matters the most for me is to speak and to speak well in order to be understood.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's it.
so let's suppose right here, if I pronounce badly a word, okay, am I going to lose the accent that I'm using in the moment? Let's suppose if I say now I talk to myself and I say no, let me speak like American, and there is a word that I may pronounce badly. In this way, am I not speaking like American? I mean, real question is it possible to speak like American?
It is, because when it comes to accent, what you have to bear in mind is that accent has to do with the rhythm. You see, with the melody you used to speak.
Yeah.
You know how do Americans sound? If you try to sound like them, you're trying to be in America.
Yeah.
You see, for example, there is a word that British, they go like this, missile, while Americans, they say missile. Missile. If you're not aware of these variations, you might get
Okay.
lost when someone says missile. Or you might say, oh, no, you're wrong, you're mistaken because my teacher taught me that it's missile.
Yeah.
You see, you might get lost in your speech because you're not aware of this variation that you may find in the word.
All
That's
right.
it.
Very good, Mr. Ben. You have the time right now, so to tell us about this. Is it real important? Okay, if accent is really important, that's the question. So, what is the biggest trouble or problem that we may find when it's lead to practice the accent?
I know radical and how to describe the policy your questions right into and it sound like this. On that because when I'm being this radical, I can find it at a big gem, like you just said, problems right of course.
Yeah,
Perhaps of those blocks they just been finding up to some gems, some problems right and
yeah,
how to get up to some
of
accent.
course.
Yeah, because each one for himself and got to follow right into it because each one got a different ways so how to study, right? Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, because there's something because I can see happen. For me, it's not a jam,
yeah.
but for yeah, that is for some
Might be,
jam,
yeah, yeah.
right? You getting me right now? Yeah, of course. Well done, because according to social questions, right? Of course, but at the first time, right? Because and I've just been saying up. To begin with, when I was starting up in Israeli, of course, I could get some gem and how to get my real accent and the pronunciation, something like this. Yeah, of course. But during that time, I could study step by step writing or little by little writing to and
Yeah.
how to find myself, right? Of course, and you knowing up, right? Because, so, I like so the way, and I've just been getting up so this accent for USA or Miami City,
Yeah.
Atlanta, right in Manhattan, Boston City, Miami City. Right? Because I know and how to get accent for different places in the United States, and I've just been like real young,
Okay.
right? Even just United Kingdom. United Kingdom, we can find it like sort of country like England and also uh, and Iceland, coast, and Wales country right of course. And Scotland, people right, they just been saying up like, do you call me? Do you call me? Right? Jack call me, right? Because these are the expressions radicals. And if people come from Scotland, they just been saying up, Jack call me. It,
Oh
of
my
course,
God.
right. Means do you know me or do you understand what I say?
Wow,
Right,
wow.
yeah. They got so both of them meanings right and how to get up
So,
so
and then
for this one.
by this idea, through this idea, as I could understand about it, it means that accent and pronunciation they work together.
Of course, right. But and in deep pop, they are real different one because something
Okay.
accent is the reasons why where you come from,
Let's
so the
suppose,
place. But the pronunciation,
Mr. Bernie, let's
yeah,
suppose if I say, I want to be a police. I wanna be a police.
yeah.
What is this? I change the accent or the pronunciation?
Okay, right. Good questions, right. Of course.
Well,
Uh-huh.
let me step in this
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this
yeah.
question. You
Uh-huh.
changed nothing. What
What
you
I change
use,
it?
you changed nothing. You changed nothing. For
Nothing.
example, when
Uh-huh.
it was trying to say something related to different ways on how people they can say something. When it comes to accent, something you have to bear in mind that we are going to find in people when they talk is called reduction. Let's not confuse how well people can reduce a word to be spoken with the way they really sound. You see,
Yeah.
the way they are going to use this word to be redacted to only one to sound in a way, that's going to be called reduction.
Reduction.
Through this reduction, as he said, don't know, don't know, don't know, like I don't know, don't know, I don't
Right.
know, don't know. They simply
And
reduce this
and
I
word
know, right.
to
these are not even neither accent or pronunciation.
no. Those are reduction.
Okay.
And these, all those kind of reductions that identify people from different place or a group of people from a certain place, that's only going to be called accent when it identifies a certain people
Your
from a
identity.
place.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about, for instance, one person, you won't come and tell me that that is accent.
Wow.
Correct.
No, I might have my own way of sounding the words, you see? Something that I want everyone to bear in mind here is that we're not here to say that we have to study accent all
Yeah.
in the learning process. If you don't have the accurate accent, you are
Yeah.
wrong, you're not doing anything. No, that's not the case.
Yeah, yeah.
What we're trying to convey is that it's important to learn and to know how different accents sound so that you
Okay.
don't get lost when you're trying to talk to someone. Because if you don't know how do people sound on different places, you might get lost. You see?
Yeah.
But when you do your best to learn how do people sound on different places, that's good for the learning process so that you don't get lost when you're trying to talk to someone.
For real, for
That's
real.
it.
And then it means that once we change such expressions, we are reducting that
Good,
person, right?
good,
It's
good.
reduction, called by
Reduction,
reduction.
yeah.
And then I'd like there is a word who say that example teach more than theory.
Yes.
Would you mind if you show us right now two accents, American and British accent in your speech?
It's very simple. Let me come up with the word I came up before. I'm going to spell the word MISSILE.
Yeah,
Americans, they say missile.
missile,
And British, they say missile.
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 Okay.
You see, this is what identifies them because all of them sound that way.
Let's suppose
I'm not-
American they say, for instance, when it's come to the season, they say fall, and the British one they say winter. What it is, accent or varieties of words?
Good variation. That's not going to be called accent because there are too many ways to sound or to say just one thing.
All right.
You see, let's not confuse. For example, if I say, let me come up with an expression. Let me see an expression. If I say, for example, I don't have any word coming up now.
Okay.
But let's not confuse having different words to say one thing as accent.
Like
No.
trouble and problem.
No. That's not accent.
Yeah.
These are different words that Americans or British used to say just one thing.
One thing,
For example, pants and trousers. You see, Americans, they like to say pants. No, it's not because it's because of accent. No, it's because of words they used to say just one thing.
One thing.
Let me come up with an example that we use in Portuguese.
Yeah.
We say autocarros, and Brazilians, they say ônibus.
Ônibus,
You see, this has nothing to do with problems and pronunciation. This has to do with knowing different vocabulary for just one thing.
Right.
Wonderful,
That's it.
Wonderful.
But in already, because so you just been getting up, sorry to point up, right? Because back it up at one of your first questions, right? You just been getting up right here.
Okay, so I said, if I say I want to be police and I wanna be police.
Okay, right. These the real gems, and then I'll find it right there.
Did I change an accent?
Okay, right. Your questions, right, and your affirmation, and your feeling right there, get contradicts one or something right now, of course. And then we just define it right here. What does mean accent?
Yeah.
And what does mean pronunciation?
Yeah.
Right. And what is written? And then it's that goes. I found some things right here and so on.
Yeah.
And then you just said, I want to be a police, right?
I want to be police.
Yeah, police, and I wanna be.
I wanna be police.
Yeah, police. What is the difference right here? At the first stop, right, the difference is how to read. Whenever you wrote the sentence, there is a change right there. When you change,
Calm down. Once we write,
they got the same meaning.
I wanna be. Are we going to change something right
No, we don't change because wanna is redacted to
Of
want
course.
to.
We know.
You see, Americans, when they see want to, they don't say want to. They
Of
say
course.
wanna.
Wanna is
Because
the
of the
contraction
reduction, they
want, right?
Yeah, that's the point.
Of course,
Good.
right. I saw about that because let me explain up so something right here from Mr. Pop. You're right in someone right now.
Yeah.
And then because this is like so whenever we just been it because so you just ask it what is the difference in these sentences, right? Yeah, of course. It happens like saying I think up like
Water.
water or water.
Yes.
The one can get up, so it's a meaning, but the pronunciation are different one. Even just if I got a cup of sugar right here, a little one, like another one, almost one. They are some different, right?
Good,
You getting me right now?
But what
Okay,
makes
right.
them to be
Of
called?
course, right.
What makes them to be called accent? You see, for example, water and water. That's because American they have some kind of flap T that makes them to sound the letter T as r.
Right.
This is why we have water,
Okay.
bottle for British,
it's-
bottle.
But my
for
word of
American.
film, I didn't
You
so
see?
finish sharing, right?
Yeah, that's the point.
So what
That's-
is there right now? Okay, right, of course. And then you just say, I want to be a policy, right? And so back in time, you just saying, I want to be a policy, like we just said, cops man.
Yeah.
Man, you know, radicals, so we know, wanna comes off or comes on, right, want, you know, is the contractions, right? and so like so breaking, so get it, right? And then whenever you just being right up to something, a verb like wanna, and then you just say want. The first chain up right there is the way you wrote, right? One want. That's gonna change the way you're gonna pronounce.
Okay.
Right? One want. They are different one.
Yeah.
The second point, you just asked it to me. What is if there is a different accent or right there? On my bench of view, it's not upside upon according to the accent right there.
Okay.
Right? Because of course, you just affirming two sentences, a different one, American and British ones.
Yep.
Right? Of course. That's not the then gaps or something saying up, what is the accent right there? Because American can say I want to be a police, like, and I want to be a police.
Good,
And the British one can say the same one. I want to be a police and I want to be a police. Both of them. It happens like Brazilian. And it's we just said right here.
Yeah.
But sometimes right, because in Brazilian they just said if I say outubro. Right?
Yeah.
And in one of the blocks, the one I just said, for sale too. And then they just put up, and Brazil they say, e aí, cara.
Yeah.
And then one of the people they say so the same one, e aí, cara.
Yeah.
Right?
And then it leads with it has to do with accent also, right?
Okay, right. But back in
that is
time,
going to be related to
according your questions, right, and your affirming.
That's
I was
going-
getting up. There is a different the sentence. I want to be a police and I want to be a police. The difference is there.
That's why
the written,
if
the written,
if there is-
wanna and
okay,
want.
Mr. Benny, if there is
Yeah.
a difference between these sentence or these sentence or these affirmations, I'd like to know what is this.
What is
the
this
difference?
word?
Yeah, what is the difference?
Of course.
It's because what it's come to, I changed an accent, a pronunciation.
That's why, and right.
Reduction. That's what we really want
Okay.
to understand.
I just said right here, right into what?
Let me say it back.
Uh-huh.
Again.
Yeah.
When we talk about accent,
Accent.
we're talking about sounds,
The sound,
not words.
of course.
And
even
this word,
the
as you
sentence.
said before, Mr.
Yes.
August, I remember well. You said it sound and it's great. We've got the point.
But accent,
But-
I just been missing
okay.
the culture, what it come from,
Okay.
right? But the real question is, right, you just said, filming the two sentences, you just been saying up, right? Like,
This
I
word.
want to be a capsman,
Uh-huh.
or I want to be a capsman, like you just said, policies, right?
Yeah.
Of course. The difference is there. The read, or the way you just wrote the sentence, whenever you change, right, the sentence or the verb,
Yeah.
want and one, we're gonna change the pronunciation, want and
okay.
one. I mean,
Okay.
so this one, an accent right there that is gonna fit up. I want to
Okay,
be.
it means that
Of
I
course, right.
need.
That's
for
not upside
instance,
upon
to
to the
check
accent, but the pronunciation.
If I write double, that's no WANT.
Okay, right.
It will
Your
be want.
question could be,
want.
what is the difference, the
Let me just-
pronunciation
let
right
me
there,
just
not
make
the
my-
accent. You
let
getting me
me-
right
let
now?
me- Let me make just understand
Yeah.
right there, because this is a doubt that we normally have, and then many people they say I want to be. Other people they say
Okay.
I want to be, and
Right.
then we want to know what is the difference between right there.
The difference is the pronunciation, not the accent right
Okay.
there. That's why I just said, what is the pronunciation?
But the very first
accent.
moment you hear a person saying, I wanna be, the very first thing that will come to your mind, American.
course.
American
Right.
accent.
American
Yeah, that's the
accent.
point.
No, well done.
No. What I'm trying to
Yeah.
convey is that the very first thing that will come to your
Of course,
mind,
right. But the
you will
root,
say that's
Right.
American. If I say I want to be, and you are saying I want
Right.
to be,
Yeah.
you might think that I'm trying to sound British, and you're trying to sound
and then
American.
that is the real gem right there.
You see?
The real gem is that word. I can identify somebody come from Americans one because whenever they want to just say I wanna.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's the
But-
point.
but-
This is why-
but
this is
it's
why-
not the
listen,
accent.
listen.
Right into
This
one
is
because
why I'm
American just-
telling you, when we talk about accent, we were not talking
Of
about
course.
words.
Of course,
we are
right.
talking
Even just-
about sounds. How do we as a person, as an individual sound?
right.
For example, we are Angolans,
Yeah.
and we do have people from Mozambique.
Yeah.
Owing to the way they speak, they might, for example, say the same thing that we are trying to say.
Okay.
But owing to the way they are going to sound, you will say to yourself, this guy's
Wow.
from Mozambique.
All right, but
Only by the way of speaking,
of course,
and nothing
right.
else.
But so watch out right there. Do you pay attention, right? Because they say that they want to have just been getting up right
No,
there.
the
One
words will
and
be
one.
the same. The
All
words will
right.
be the same.
Of course.
The only difference will be only on the word you're
Right.
going to sound.
And then
Okay.
they want to ask it, what is the different accent right there? There's not the different accent, but the pronunciation and the written.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
One and one. The pronunciation, one and one. Because British use a lot. Want.
Okay,
American
Mr.
one,
Ben,
right?
and then
But it
if-
doesn't
Due
mean
to the reduction.
a British one. So can't you use one?
Yeah, of
right?
course, of
Sometimes
course.
they just been
They
using
can use.
course.
both
Okay.
of them, right?
Okay,
Of course.
so and then it means that that has to do with pronunciation. And if we change this pronunciation and start to sound like wanna, right? Not want. And then right there, it cannot turn to start to sound like American. Let's suppose those people who say, let's we go to Africa, Nigeria's one. They
Yeah.
say,
That's
my
harder right
brother,
here.
give me money. Right there, what we call by then pronunciation or accent.
Accent.
Right? And then right there, going to the starting of sound, what is phonetics, right? Or phonetic. Okay. So right there, according to the phonetic or to the language, are they pronouncing well the words?
No, that are going to be called pronunciation on the way they should have uttered the word. You get me? Pronounced.
Okay.
But let me say what I'm trying to tell you all the time.
Yeah.
Accent has to do with sounds. Sounds, not words.
Yeah.
I had expand up.
Sounds.
So what is it deeply
Sounds.
the sound? The sound
Sounds.
deeply
Why?
radical.
What,
They're
what
gonna
I'm
come
trying to
like
say is that by
pronunciation.
the very first moment
Yeah.
you hear someone pronouncing a word,
Yeah.
due to this sound, you will understand, British,
British one.
American. Why? Because of the sound. Only sounds, not the word. For example,
But
what's
whenever
this? What's
talk-
this? What's this in
Yeah.
English? What's this?
But take it
No,
off right
no,
there.
no. What's this?
Water, right? They want to
see?
have just been getting out like
just
American.
because he said
Yeah.
water, what
Water.
comes to your mind is
American, right.
English. If
But
I
take
say
it off.
water,
There's some British
the
one they
same
pronounce.
word
Yeah.
but different sounds. We're talking sounds, not
okay,
words.
I got the point. It has to do with pronunciation. If I say water, it's water. It means that the sound still the same.
No,
No?
ta is ra.
Okay.
Ta
Could
is
you
ra.
come?
Water.
All right.
You see, they are completely different.
No, I mean it. The accent still the same, but the sound different. Isn't it?
No.
And then once the sound change, it means I change the pronunciation.
That's why radicals.
No.
Okay, I didn't get the
When
point.
we talk about the pronunciation, we are talking about how a word must be pronounced.
Said. Okay.
Pronounced.
Okay.
And how it must be pronounced will vary
Okay.
according to the different accents that people have because of the region they come from. You see, when we talk about accent, we have the problem of the regional accent.
Wow.
You see, the accent affects on the way you have to pronounce a word.
Okay.
You see, your accent, for example, we are Angolan, right?
Yes, for
Even
sure.
when we try to imitate a Portuguese or a Portuguese,
Yeah.
our accent as Angolans will show that we're not Portuguese. Not only because of the color, but because of the way we speak.
All right.
Even if a guy from Mozambique try to speak Portuguese as we do,
Yeah.
we will understand that these guys are not Angolan owing to the way they are going to sound.
Okay. Let's suppose if your parents, okay, they are Angolan.
Yes.
And they decide to go to the Portugal.
Yes.
And once they right there, they've got you right there. I mean, you were born there in Portugal, but your father and your mother, they are from Angola.
Yes.
So, and you grown up right there in Portugal, and yeah, you are Angolan, and also you are Portuguese. I mean, you are
Yeah.
Portuguese,
Yep.
and then right there you start to sound like Portuguese or
Portuguese.
Angolan.
Accent is determined by the place you come from.
That's the point.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. Where the place where you find yourself into plays a great role on the way you are going to sound.
Okay.
It's like a student. If a teacher, or if for example you're my teacher,
Yes.
I'm your student.
Yes.
I used to be exposed to the way you speak.
Okay.
I will kind of sound like you because I used to listen from you as much as possible. I used to listen from you all the time.
Wow.
This is why I will kind of sound like you because of the place where I used to come from.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow. Okay, so we will give a short stopping right here. So we will come back. Let we just take some water. So stay right there. Okay, we will come. Okay, so we came back right now, Teacher Pop Podcast. So we're in the second part of this addiction. Well, so we are right here again with Mr. August and Mr. Ben. We're talking about accent. So keep it up with us right there, and let's we keep it up. Okay, so as we were talking right there, Mr. August. Okay, well, it is possible to speak like America, and what is the importance of having a good accent?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's important to have a good accent.
Yeah.
Why I wouldn't say so? Because speakers and teachers they should worry about sounding well,
It's
pronouncing well
pronunciation.
words. Because
Wonderful.
when you mispronounce a word, your listener or the person you're talking to must even get frustrated because of the way you are uttering the word.
For real.
You have to be good at pronouncing words and not worry about having a British or an American accent.
Wow.
And what we're trying to do here is only to think of the differences that we have between these different accents that we have.
real.
Not saying that we have to have an accent. Don't let anyone tell you that you are not a good speaker of English just because you do not sound American, just because you do not sound
Yeah.
British. No,
That's
that's not the fact.
Okay.
You have to know how to sound on your own way as you want.
The way
but
you
you
are.
have to learn how do they sound so that you get to understand when they are trying to tell you something.
Okay, so and what is your and what are your advice, your counselor for those people who would like to start to sound well the words? What are the techniques that you normally use to start to start the sound in English?
Okay. I have a friend of mine whose name is Zola Mazikumenga.
Okay.
The guy is a therapist in what concerns sounds, aka Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben.
Yeah,
I know
The
this man.
guy is an expert when it comes to sounds.
Wow.
If you want to sound like British or like an American, just do talk to them.
Wow.
Because I do speak well because I was taught by a good teacher.
Wow.
You see? And if you really want to learn not only how to sound like a British or native, you've got to study pronunciation with the person who really masters it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pronunciation. And what is your advice for those teachers that they focus only in the way they sound and they teach to their student? What is your advice for them?
Well, they have to change, especially the procedures, because that's not good for the students.
Wow.
Students will have problems in understanding because they are only used to talking to the teacher.
Wonderful.
When they have, for example, a person from a different place
Of course.
trying to talk to the student will find it difficult to understand.
All right.
Why? Because students only is used to the way his speaker speaks.
All right.
If I, for example, come up with expressions used by British on the way they sound, the student will find it difficult to speak or to understand what's being said because he's only used to understand the teacher who uses an American English. It's important to range, to teach the different ways on how words sound or vary from origin to origin. You see,
Wow.
it's important. And I would say that teachers have the responsibility of not only to teach what they plan for the students, but also to worry about how they can understand British and American English.
Wow. And how am I going to identify my accent?
You are going to identify your accent through what is called, for example, owing to the way I speak,
Okay.
people will determine that I am a British or I am American.
Yeah.
But I myself, I don't say that I speak like an American or that I speak like a British,
Yeah.
because I used to mix. I sometimes prefer to say responsibility
Yeah.
and sometimes responsibility. It's
Yeah.
because I do not choose words when I'm speaking. Words just come up easily.
Yeah.
And I won't determine that I speak like an American or like a British, but you will try to be able to determine if you must sound like a British or American if you for example have or 80% of the words that you use sounds like British, oh, you speak British English.
Uh,
If 80% are American, American.
okay, and it is impossible to be fluent, not sound like America. And then, what is fluency in the case of using accent? Let's suppose if I speak English, and I didn't identify my accent. And yeah, I really want to be fluent in
Okay,
English.
okay.
Okay, does the accent make an influence uh, for a person become fluent in
Fluent?
English?
No, accent has nothing to do with reaching fluency.
Okay.
Why? Fluency has to do with the ability to speak smoothly without pausing to think how you are going to pronounce a word,
Okay.
or how what you are going to say to convey your thoughts.
Wow.
That has nothing to do with accent.
Let's
Because
suppose
I
if
might,
if I
might,
pronounce badly the word, but I speak normally without stopping, am I fluent?
you're fluent.
Wow.
You're fluent. Being fluent doesn't mean that you are going to sound like a British, like an American, because
Yeah.
people, due to the place they come from, they are going to sound differently. You
Yeah.
see? Being fluent means being able to speak without stopping to think what you are going to say afterwards.
Thank you. Mr. Benny, now is your time. So, what do you do to get American accent? Or what is your advice for those people who really want to sound like America, but they have been finding a lot of difficulty in this aspect? What is your advice for them?
Before getting this point in radicals, and then
Yeah.
I'm a jump out of radicals, and then so what you just said right here, right in
Yeah.
when I we just been talking about different accent and cultures
Yeah.
right off course, cause all the time you just been getting up American and British one. Oh my gosh, shit, man.
Yeah.
We got different accent and pronunciation like Canadian and Australians, right?
Yeah.
And so
That-
on.
that's the- that's what the people
Unfortunately,
need to
I've just
know.
seen. You know, right? All the English speakers, even just so the teachers, had just been again or monopolized only so these ones, right?
For
Of
real,
course,
for real.
the English one is not all American and British ones, right?
Yeah.
Of course, even just so the accent. Whenever if we just been getting up from right there, American, we're gonna find out radicals and Canadian, right? Of course,
Yeah.
and because there are some expressions right there, and then it's also in radicals and Canadian people they just been saying like tongue means so slipper, right? Of course,
Yeah.
but then it's also in that goes whenever they want to just been getting up, so the pronunciation like, and we just say every day, they just been getting up every day.
Every day. Wow.
Of course, right. In spite of saying up, you know, everybody right here, they just been saying that everybody,
Everybody.
right? Is the
Wow.
real different Canadian and Australian, right? They got a different sounds,
Yeah.
like so we just been saying up. They just been saying oh horo, they just been saying bye bye.
Whoa. Wow. Wow. Wow.
That's why and I've just been this that context point so we should deep up right here, right in someone. The
real.
different accent, sound, and count and vocabulary had just been getting up so this one. Because
Yeah.
all the time we just been getting up not only right here, but so whatever schools, so whatever English centers, right and so on. We just
Yeah.
been only discuss on American
All
and
the
British.
time, all the time.
Of course,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the time, man. Right. And then I guess on my bench view we should so we should deep up another point like you know,
Wow.
right, because English language like right there, Canadian and Australian,
Yeah.
even just on Nigeria, right, of course, and so South Africa, right, and so on. As I said before, you know, right, because if you come closer right now, right, because for some citizenship come from Australian, they just been saying, hi, daddy. Right now, right, because I'm gonna be getting uhuru means what? Man, this all my time is off. Uhuru means what?
Uhuru.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Or
My
goodbye.
God.
Right,
Right,
and so
alright.
on. In spite of saying up radicals and connect, they just said my tongue. They just said, oh man, flip flop, ready.
Let's go.
Yeah, right. And then to sing that coach, this is the real different Canadian and Australian flip flop and tongue. And then American and British they just say slipper.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, I mean, This is the real difference. We should the pop right in someone and how to teach up right. So for those brokes or for those English speakers, they don't know about it. So this point, right
Yeah.
now only getting up like even just whenever we just been getting up. Oh, when it's on my home, but right here, right, the one just
Yeah.
said it, the accent, and we can identify accent from British one and Americans one, right?
Yeah.
Americans, so we can find out a different accent, like British one, so we can find a different one, like
Yeah.
where country, right, and Iceland and Scotland, as I said before,
Yeah.
NATO one is oh, and then if somebody wants to say, I want to tell apps or something right now, if the one is a British one. British one, we got 4 countries. They are
Yeah.
different one right there, accent and pronunciation, right?
Um,
If you some or if you collaborate, a citizenship come from in Wales country or Scotland in England, put up and talk each other right into one, they're gonna get a hardship and communication.
all right.
It happened like United States. People come from Boston City or Miami City or Atlanta and so on and put up right, but the Americans one, and then they can't be in the same boat and right each other because according to the accent and pronunciation, it happens right there in the British ones, right? Of course, because unfortunately, many brokers they just think up, or many English speakers, right? They
Yeah.
think up when we say British ones, right? They think only England. No, 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 no.
Yes.
We got there so 4 countries, right? We got a different, as I said before, trying to ask up, right? What the citizens want, right? Because they just said in Scotland, do you come in? Means do you understand so what I say? And people come from England, they don't say it. But Scotland people is a British one, but they live up for United Kingdom, right? Of
Right.
course, you getting me
Wow,
right now?
I got the point.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Benny, let we just also watching because we went out asking people so about this question that we took right here. Let we just give a look. Let we just look to these ideas of the people. Okay, talking about this accent.
Yeah.
And so, how are you doing, Teacher Wisdom?
I'm doing fine, thanks. How are you, Mr.
Okay,
Papa?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about accent. What do you think about accent, or what is accent for you? Give me some such as definition.
So, accent is the way somebody, by his own way of speaking, articulate some word.
Accent to me, it is the way we speak, the way we pronounce the words, and that sound we call is accent. The way we talk so natural, that the way we call is accent.
Accent is the way you speak the words.
I think that accent has to do with the way we pronounce the way in our own, in our own way,
As we were talking right here, Mr. Benny, I really appreciate also Mr. August your point of view about accent. So finishing it, I'd like to ask a question to Mr. Benny. So for us to get real American accent, inside of just studying sound, is it also important to study idiomatic expressions, slang? Tell us about it.
Good questions, right? Of course, right. That's very important, right? Of course, because then it's gonna we need to communicate with all and center, right?
Okay.
And someone because unfortunately, right, every speakers, right, they just been in how to share and how to talking about it, right, with some brokes, even just not even across the grade level or even just as teachers writing so on because
Yeah.
they just been getting only standard English, right? Of course.
Okay.
Whenever you just been eliminated on standard English, of course, you're gonna be limited, right? Because and how to talk with all in time. When I say all in time, everybody in speaks and I just said it
Yeah.
right here. Of course, and then because whenever we just been starting up, so this one we're gonna connect so the all the people.
So because this is what we need to understand also why I ask this question because you may sound well and you may get okay a great pronunciation like American like a British, but let's suppose if you find out a person who is a native one and he normally use the local language, I mean local expression, what we call by idiomatic expression, right? Sometimes it's real difficult to understand that because like I'm right here and I ask you, are you blue?
Yeah,
You asked me, what are you blue? What is
That's
it?
simple
Are you
one.
pinky?
yeah.
What's cracking cool?
But
And
that's
you
a
don't
real
get
gem.
this one, although you've got a great pronunciation, but just because of those kind of expressions, so you become lost.
Well, then, because and then I've just been saying up like it happens like so whenever so fanatic bro, they just been coming out from right here and I'm going to right into it. It just been happening. Even just so whenever when Mr. Pop or Mr. Bush one, they're gonna so travel right there United States, not only United States or Canadian. Or you're
Understand?
right in
Yeah.
John or Australian and so on. You're gonna find out some native one. They're gonna speak up so some word that you're gonna understand
Understand?
right
Yeah,
of
for
course.
real, for
And
real.
then trying to be humble right there, of course. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean you're not native ones. Every day we just been learning a different words, a different
Yeah.
vocabulary, right into one. And then it goes, and it's so gonna say, man, unfortunately, I didn't get it out right, of course, and trying to help me
Wow.
out, or what is it, right?
For
Or trying
instance,
to
Mr.
translate
Bennett,
me.
there is
Of
one.
course, you're gonna learn.
There is
Yeah,
something that
that's
I've
simple
seen on
one.
YouTube. American vernacular English.
Okay, right.
Even people who are British, who are native one, once they go to some place in America, they have to start African American vernacular English.
Yeah. Okay, right. So whenever we just been getting up, right, American vernacular readings, we just been saying like Ebonics, right, or Blackings, and so on.
Okay.
Because on the internet right here now is right, because if you invested in Google, one, you're gonna find out what is it, right, of course. And native one had just been using every day, right, because as we just said, in like Canadian, they just say 80 day, not as
80.
saying every day.
Whoa.
Canadian people, they just say 80 day.
80 day.
That's why I just saying right here the different accent and pronunciations right. We just been only saying and United States and British one, but let it back up so of this one. Of that, because I consider your questions right, of course, the real importance one of this one. We're gonna understand the moves, leaks, right, of course, like the
Okay.
rap one, not also the rap one, even just so the so some moves like that is up so the under social life, like so
Wow.
people come from
For instance,
the
Mr.
poverty.
August is a translator. He has been working as a translator. Okay, so and yeah, sometimes it is a hard work. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I respect those who has been and you. I know you have been also
Of course, right.
using you have been working in this aspect also as a translator. So let's suppose if we may find these musicians one, these singers like Eminem, these
And we
this
must be
guy
ready.
Bass around the way they speak, the way sometimes how what kind of techniques you're
All
gonna
right.
take to understand them
Good
if they
question.
start to use a slang, their slang.
Learning is such an endless process.
Yeah.
Even for a translator, just because you reach
You need to
this
learn
level
more.
doesn't mean that you will stop learning.
Right.
Yeah.
Every day you have to think of broadening your vocabulary.
Yeah. Okay.
Because something that you have to avoid as a translator is to get stuck while for example, interpreting.
Yes.
And translation, let me make it clear here,
Yeah.
has nothing to do with speaking.
Yeah.
Translation has to do with writing. The work related to speaking while someone else is speaking at the same time is
Yeah.
called interpretation.
Wow.
You see, for example, you have a
No
paper in your
problem,
hand. If you want me
Yes.
to translate, I'll simply translate, and my work is going to be called the translator. But you see, at the moment I'm speaking, and someone is taking it to the other language, that's going to be called interpretation, because that's going to be oral, while translation has to do with written. That's
Well
it.
done, because the next when the one had just been saying up like the interpretation and translation, we just been getting up right, because and translation is the conversion another language for other languages right into it. Interpretation, what do you meaning up right? The way the one had just been getting to something right now.
Yeah.
For instance, there was some interview when 50 the one had just been getting up, so the Mozambique problems right, and so we can see up right, because it just happened for the interview right, because the one just said, hey, 50 so what's up right now, right? Of course, 50 the one just said, enjoy myself.
Enjoy myself.
You know, right? Because the next thing that goes right now, you're gonna translate all interpretations right now. No,
I feel well in my heart.
of course,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
In
I
the-
feel
so the
well.
translations, right? So you're gonna say up, no, I enjoy myself. No, eu curto o mesmo. No, that's not a
That doesn't
good,
work.
right?
There
Of
is no
course,
way.
the interpretation is gonna
Yeah,
work. I'm
that's the
fine.
point.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
point of
course,
Mr. Algo. Yeah,
because,
yeah.
and then so what's up as the so the interview one, the one just says, so what's up right there doesn't mean who go take spots right in Toronto.
Yeah.
The one just
How-
what? How are you?
How are you?
You
That's
getting
the
me
point.
right now?
That's it.
And then you're gonna see episode this video right there, and the Mozambique programs right in
Okay, so
Toronto.
Mr.
Yeah.
Ben, thank you. So we're gonna finish right now. So that was amazing interview talking to Mr. Ben and Mr. August. So this is CJ Pop Podcast. Follow us on YouTube, on WhatsApp,
Lady
on
Jam.
TikTok, on Facebook. So we are happy here. So let's give some. Like, give me five.
It
Give me
just been a
five.
great
Thank you.
already. Thanks
And
anyway
God
to
bless you
be out
guys.
right here
Thank
in the
you.
crowd.
We are together.
Back on the crowd.